Okay, we are here with Kevin, and I photographed Kevin before on this gray backdrop, and so we're kind of reenacting that. I didn't film it when I did him the first time I came to Tombstone. But this technique that I've done here, I have been doing for a number of years, and it's really simple. And basically, since I'm photographing on a gray backdrop, in Photoshop, all I have to do is choose a blending mode of either overlay or soft light, and I can add any texture I want. So this wall over here, I think we already used this wall, but I could use any texture I want, and in Photoshop, stick it to that gray. So it's a really easy way to go and just say, I got one backdrop, but later I can have 100 different looks. So I wanted to redo this for you guys to show you how I do it. It's very simple, beauty dish right over the top. Now, normally when I do a model, like a beauty fashion model, not that Kevin isn't beautiful. That beauty dish is about 24 inches from my subject, nose, 24 inches. With a scenario like this, which is a little bit more dramatic, I back that up to about 36 inches. That gives a little bit snappier look, and it's going to allow the light to fall down just a little bit more to him. So I have my settings on my camera at 7.1 aperture, and that's usually the best depth of field that I've got. Now in this case, I might go to f8, and he's got a hat, so we want that hat in focus too. But at any rate, so you got a fair amount of depth of field, 200th of a second, which is my sync speed, because I don't want any of this ambient light coming into the scene, and ISO 100. So it's really simple. The output of the light is about just a little over half power to what my strobe is here. So that would be about 200 watts of light. So I'm using a tilt shift lens, and you've heard me many times talk about this. So I'm just going to real quick repeat it. I'm shifting up and down to get 3 different plates, and then I'll stitch them together to make one big final plate, which will give me a ultra high-res megapixel file. So let's get this set up here. I got to make sure I don't get that thing in the picture. So I'm right there. Okay, that's good news. And I'm going to double focus here. Right there. Okay, I'm in focus. So we're at the top position. Here we go. First one, second one, third one. Okay, now I missed your elbow. So shift just a little bit that way, right there. Okay, try that again. Okay, first one, second one, third one. Okay, we got all parts and pieces in there, and that looks pretty darn amazing. Wow. Okay, so let me just do this. I'm a little off my squared up here. Let's double focus, check the focus. Okay, here we go. First one, second one, third one. Okay, perfecto. Now try one just looking off a little bit. First one, second one, third one. Okay. Let's see, I bumped my camera a little too much there. Let's try that again. First one, second one, third one. Okay. Straight on again. Let's just lower the hat a little bit right there. So yeah, there I see your badge now. Okay. Ready? And then drop your chin just a little bit. Perfect. First one, second one, third one. Okay, hold on a second. I'm just missing just a little bit of your elbow there on that one side. Just a fraction off. Okay, ready? Drop the chin just a little bit more right there. That's perfect. Yes. I think we got it. Perfect. All right, there are a couple techniques that I get asked about all the time and how I do something, and one of them is, how do I make a texture attached to a gray background? So, if you've been in photography for a while, I've been doing this a long time, I used to have a studio full of backdrops. I still have some of those. I've gotten rid of most of them. But the ones that I have, the typical painted backgrounds or the Muslim canvas, I never pull them out, because once I discovered this technique of adding a texture later in Photoshop to a gray background, I don't have to go and make that decision there on the spot, or later I may have a different idea for that image, so I add a different texture to the background to give it a different mood, so I can make the creative process, the decision on some of the creative processes later. So, how I discovered this technique was very simple. In Photoshop, if you know anything about blending modes, you know that if you have, say, overlay, soft light, that the grouping right there, that punches a hole through 50% gray. So I thought one day, well, what if I shot a subject against a 50% gray? Can I go and punch a hole through that? Well, it turns out you can. So I've been doing this for probably about 7 years, 6 years, and now it's sort of like a lot of people in the industry are doing it. Not saying I'm the very first. I don't know if there was someone else doing it, but the point is that once I understood Photoshop, then I applied that knowledge to my shooting side, and then I was able to come up with a really cool technique. So what that tells you is there's probably some things that have not been discovered that are still waiting to be discovered, because one day someone will go, oh, why can't you do this with that and this, and all of a sudden you have a new technique or a new way of doing something. So it's not how brilliant you are, it's just about sort of like applying the tools at hand and just walking through problem solving. And that's how I usually come up with something. So let's take a look at this image of Kevin. This was stitched, so I had 3 parts. I'm going to show you how to do that stitching in a number of the retouches here, or a few of the retouches here in the dramatic portrait. So I'm not going to do that now, but I'll show you over here. I have the very final last finishing off the image. I got a little bit of a photo filter on there, levels, with the vignette, vignette. A little black and white, my first texture, my second texture, and that was pretty much the stitched version. Now, let me show you something that you guys want you to think about. This body here is from one frame and the head is from another frame. Let me show you if I get my thing. So this is one frame, and this came from a different frame. What happened was, when I started going through my different outtakes, I loved this face with his eyes squinted a little bit, but I loved his body on here because I ended up clipping his elbow. That was one of the first shots I did. So, magic, I can take that head and put it on here. So let me show you. And these are, it says DNG because I stitched the 3 images on both those images. So what we're going to do is we're going to open these up here. So let's do one at a time, because I know I can do, I think, both at the same time, but we're just going to do it this way. So we're going to go over here, and I think I've already applied my basic, highlights, shadows, whatever. So we're going to say, I'm not going to open as a smart object in this one. So we're going to say, just open. It's going to come over here. And then we're going to go back and open this one. Command R. And then just say, hold down the shift key for me, because I have it defaulted to open as a smart object. Hit that, and we have both these frames now. So we get my Wacom tablet, or pen and tablet, I guess, both. And before I go and close this down, let's see, we're going to have, this is the one I want to work on, so I'm going to take the head off of this one. So we're going to grab this, pull it over here, and then let go. So, we're going to let Photoshop do the magic here, but we're going to We're going to do select both images. And now hit the F key so we can get it all cleaned up here. So that's just for the canvas. So we got both images, and we're going to go over here to Edit, Auto Align, and we'll say Auto. See what happens. Okay, let me take a look here. Not bad. It kind of warped the hat a little bit, but I don't think that's a problem. So I could do it that way, or let's go Command Z, and we could also do it this way. So we make a mask, Command I would make it into it punches a hole through it. And then I'm going to get a white brush here. We're going to have 100%. We're going to paint. Oh, I'm on black. That doesn't, in effect, it's not a full black. So we got to go over and reset this. So we want it to be white. So let's paint his head here. Okay, I'm just going to paint a general area. Command T, and then I can go and just line it up like this. I can go, and that looks pretty good right there. So then there's no warping. So there's two ways you can do this. I'm going to now go to a black brush. Let's go a little bit harder. And I'm just going to paint back right along the collar there. See any, oh, got a white. We're just going to go right up to the neckline there. All right, we fixed that. So now I've got both heads, or the head and the body from the other one. Looks great. We will flatten this. Command E will merge down. I'm going to add a little more gray around this, so let's make my canvas a little bit bigger. We're going to move at this pretty quick pace now. So width, let's go 24, and we're going to make it equal. We're just going to pop it on both sides here. So let's go over here to my marquee, rectangular tool, I think that's what they call it. Rectangular marquee. I had both those terms just in the wrong order. So let's go Command T, hold the shift down. We're going to go out here just a little bit here. Deselect, Command D. Now in this case, I don't have a lot of gray there, so I can always do this. We'll just grab this, Command C, Command V, Command T, which allows me to flip horizontal, and we'll bring it over here, and then we're going to create a mask. Our brush will be black, 100%. Well, actually, let's go 50%-ish. That way we can feather that in there, and we'll just have to tap it a number of times here to get it to come in there. So that allows me to get a little bit of extended gray. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect over there because we're going to add texture to it. So we're going to go Command E, which merges down, hit the C, which is my crop. We're going to come up just a little bit, and he's a little crooked in there. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go like this. I'm going to straighten him up a little bit. And I'm not sure if this is what I did on the other one, but we will straighten him up just a little bit. That looks better. All right, so let's go I'm gonna hit the F key to get out of here and grab my two textures. So my two textures are Caspian, which was, I purchased at flypapertextures.com. We're gonna pick it up and go to, which one was it here? This one. Drop it in here. I don't like these edges on this one necessarily, so we're going to make it a little bit bigger than you know, so that those are cropped out. Okay, that's one texture. We're going to go to tintype. I use this all the time. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to just go Command T, and we're going to go slightly out. I'm going to hold the Shift key on this one. Slightly out of the canvas, just a tad, so I don't get those little white lines. All right, so let's put this one below that. Now, what blending mode do I use? Well, what punches a hole through gray? Overlay. Oh, we got this one up there still. So let's do that again for you. So there's the normal. We go to overlay or soft light. Soft light's a half the amount. So I can always do overlay and then pull the opacity back and feather in between the two. So we're going to go to this one here, which is, let's see how much we want on that one. Okay, we'll probably go about there. And then, let me take a look here. This one, I'm gonna flip this. Let's go back to here. I'm gonna flip this, Command T. We're gonna make it, flip it horizontal. I think I missed it. I think I went too fast. Flip horizontal. There it went. Because that was a little too tight over there. So we can fix the little wobbles over here. If I take my spot healing brush and say, you know what, that bothers me just a little bit, the little wobble in there. So I fix a lot of these backgrounds. So why am I using two backgrounds? You may have heard me say this, that if you're going to purchase a background, see, it's kind of doing, that's because I'm in overlay. Let me go back to here. I should have done that in, I should have done that without the overlay on. Let's see what that does. Yeah, that fixes it better. It doesn't like to do the spot healing brush when you're on a percentage. And I think it might be picking up, it says sample all layers. That's what it was doing. It was sampling all the layers. We don't want it to do that. Let's uncheck that for a second. I think that's what it's doing. So I've proceeded to kind of mess this up a little bit because I'm moving too fast. All right, let's go back to overlay. We have this texture on, and now I'm not really liking that up there. We'll darken it. Okay, so you notice that with this texture here, let me hit the F key. With this texture, this first one, it doesn't really affect his face. Just a little in value because it's a gray backdrop. This has a lot of gray in it too, but it's still affecting his face. So we make a mask, click. We are going to take a brush. We're going to go to black. I'm going to go 100%, and we're just going to take back his face. So now it's the same value as it's a clean one without any texture on it. Now I can go over his whole body, but I don't think we need it. So I'm going to darken this just a little bit. So let's make a Shift Command N to match over here. I could always take a chunk of that, but I'm just going to burn it down really quick here. 7%. Oh, we messed up. Let's try that again. Shift Command N. I did not make a overlay, fill it with 50% gray, and then we're on burn. Yes, here we go. This way it kind of helps match the... All right, let's go to our levels, adjustment layer, and we're going to go to my gradient circular. Pull down. You see me do this many times. We're going to go over to properties over here and we're going to pull it down a little bit. Okay. Looking pretty good. I still don't like that little section right there, but yeah, that's because I got in a hurry and I was messing up my my background. Okay, so let's go to Photoshop, let's see, black and white. And I'm going to pull down the, let's go to 0 and then come up to about 22. That looks pretty good. Let's take a look at this again. We might go a little darker. I really want you to go to his face. Now, we didn't do any retouching on him, but you guys, I've got so many tutorials in this masterclass that show me how to do that. We'll pass on that. So I just want to show you how I do this gray. So let's take a look at, we'll probably do a little bit of warming filter because there's a little bit, yeah. Let's go to, I'm going to go to the sepia one. Let's see what that does. I like that better. And then we're going to go Shift Option Command E. And we could go to the Nik or we can go to Photoshop. So let's try Photoshop first. So Command J, I make a second layer, go to Filter, Camera Raw, and I have used this a couple times. We're going to say Load, and it's a preset that I made, a Harley Grunge. I'll show you what it is here. And basically I'm taking the highlights down, shadows up, but really it's the clarity and the, let's see, where is that? A little bit of grain. Gives me a little bit of a bite. Did I do sharpness? Not really. Oh yeah, I did a little sharpness. So it's just, it's giving me a little bit of a snap to the, let's say okay on that. Or if I don't like that, we can try it with the Luminar Flex and try one of my presets there that I've showed you guys already multiple times. Clipboard's getting too big. It'll probably crash and then I'll have to start all over. It happened to me the other day. That's what happens. Camtasia's running. I got Photoshop Bridge. And now it's just going to sit here and says it doesn't like it. And it will not let me cancel. So let's see if we can get out of here. Force quit. All right, so we are not going to show you the flex because it's not liking it. So let's go back to this final one here. Let me go down small. I apologize for that little wobble there, but we can always go to this, my final here. We can always go in here and fix a few little things here. Let's see what that does. Yeah, that fixed a few little things. All right, that's how you connect a texture to a gray background. And I didn't finish my train of thought. The reason why I do two backgrounds out of, like, say, flypapers.com, flypaperstextures.com, is because I want to make a little more of a custom background for me. So I'm taking two backgrounds, blending together, making a background that would be more of a signature look for me. Or if I go and create my own background, that's better, which I do. I have lots of textures that I've created, and I've used some of them. I went to England and Oxford, and I was shooting walls, and I use them all the time. But the point is that if you take one texture that is available to thousands of people, then it sort of, you can say, oh, that's the same texture, that's the same look I've got, right? Or someone copies you 100%. So when you can go take these two textures and build your own background and match mine. But what I'm saying is as I'm building a body work, I'm thinking about those things, is that I want to customize as best I can. So I can do this gray on a full sweep with someone standing with a shadow on the ground. I've done that. I can also add textures on a white or black background because I know the blending modes for that. So the point is once you understand Photoshop, You apply those techniques into your photography side, and some really cool things happen. And so I hope that's a quick little tutorial. We're gonna keep going, doing more things. This is again, once a Kevin. I got more cowboys than Kevin. So at any rate, we'll continue on here, and hopefully you guys all stick with me. We got some good stuff coming.